money. You just spend more money? I love that process. But once you make that final decision, this is the industry, this is the company, these are products I will succeed with, then you have to have something at stake. Somebody read that for me, would you please? Mary, would you read that?
Have something at stake. Our frozen fish processor had trouble selling a few, I can't read, I don't have my glasses. A new line of frozen fish because they tasted flat. The company tried to get the fish fresh, including holding them in tanks until just before processing, but to no avail. Then someone suggested to put a predator in there with them that should keep them fresh. This idea worked like a charm. The fish kept moving and retained their vitality. What do you have at stake?
So the question is, what do you have at stake? You are our predators. Last year, 60% of our business came from new agents. So what's another way of saying that? How would you reframe that from a business standpoint? Linda, how would you reframe that?
They're hungrier. They got more at stake.
Well, if we hadn't hired new agents, then what would have happened? Yeah, we'd be down 60%, right? If 60% of our sales came, this is called Give Me Five. Okay. If 60% of our sales came from new agents and we didn't hire new agents, then what would happen? We'd be down 60%, right? So really, you have to have something at stake. And I think, I don't know if it's true for everybody. It's probably not true for everybody. But I think more often than not, it's not the $250 that you have at stake, is it? Is that what you really have at stake in this business? What do you really have at stake? Don't we have our ego, our self-esteem, our pride? What prevents us from making that phone call, asking for the appointment, walking in that small business, asking for the check, getting the signature?
Fear.
Yeah, the fear. Did you? And there's a theory in psychology. It's called the fear of loss is greater than a desire for gain. The fear of losing something is greater than the desire for the gain we get from it. I was talking to a manager last week. He was having trouble getting agents doing package selling. In other words, you're selling med stuff with a care assist. And he said he couldn't understand why they wouldn't pick up the concept. They see him do it all the time. They see 85% of his sales are package sales. They see him increase his income 25% with no additional prospecting. We're going to talk about how to do it, but he can't get them to do it. I said, well, the fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. The fear of losing the sale is greater than the desire for the extra money they would make. And in this business, the fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain. The fear of what we think people will think about what we're doing is greater than the desire for the money we would make from it. I mean, let's look at the whole process of sales. What's ironic, here's something that's ironic to me. Sales companies always put up different like contests and awards and stuff, right? Here, I found this funny in one of my offices one time. I had a couple of agents that hadn't written business in like 3 weeks. So I put up a contest that said you got $100 for this one type of app, the first one that came in by Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And one of the agents that hadn't written business went out and wrote that first app and came in to get the $100. That makes sense, right? You put on a contest, somebody does something to win it. Here's what I think is funny about it. Do you get paid when you write business? So the concept of earning a commission to pay the house payment, car payment, utilities, put braces on the kid wasn't motivation enough to go write business. But getting $100 for this app was enough money to get him off his butt to go write business. Isn't that funny? So what do we have to have at stake? I think more often than not what we really have at stake is our own ego, our own sense of self-worth, our own sense of accomplishment. And in order to have something at stake, we have to put something out there. We have to risk something. And I think those are the things that we have to risk first. And that doesn't really have anything to do with the sale of the product. That has to do with us being willing to risk failure. Because it's only from the ashes of failure that we get the glory of success. And in this business, activity, numbers is the game. The more people we see, the more presentations we see, the better chance we have of making what?
Money.
Making money, of making a sale. And that's the hard thing to learn when you're brand new, because we tend to do a bad job of focusing on the product and sale and not on the front end, which is gaining the commitment and putting the activity in. And having enough faith and belief in ourselves and in our manager. After all, you paid $250 for a job based on what your manager, what did your manager do?
Sold you.
Sold you, and what he said, right? All of you came here to this training because your manager told you you would get what out of it?
More sales. Training.
Did they say you'd get training, you'd get more sales, you'd get some help? And you came here on the faith and belief that you'd get something of value out of it. Not because you knew you would. Did any of you know whether this would be any good or not?
No.
I mean, some of you right now are probably sitting there thinking, this guy's an idiot. It's okay. But the truth is you have to have something at stake, and you have to put it up. The only person who likes change is a wet baby. Linda, would you read the rest of that for me?
2 basic rules of life are: 1, change is inevitable, and 2, everybody resists change. Much of the world has its defenses up to keep out new ideas. Thus, you need to become a warrior and do what's necessary to succeed. Sometimes this means fighting your way past the obstacles you encounter.
And I think the obstacles, more often than not, is the mirror. I mean, I think that people tend to think about themselves and not other people. If you are licensed, if you pass your state's licensing test, you know more than 95% of the people you're going to talk to. I'll give you a scenario. You go to a doctor and you describe some symptoms. And that doctor says, oh, okay, Mary, you can take this medicine, or you can take this medicine, or you can take this medicine, or you can take this medicine. Which medicine do you want? You go to the second doctor and you describe your symptoms, and he says, oh, okay, here, fill this prescription, take it twice a day, and come back in 10 days. Which doctor gives you more confidence?
The second.
Thanks, Mary. Which doctor gives you more confidence?
I suppose the second one does.
The second one? Why wouldn't the first one?
He obviously hasn't got a clue
Thanks,
what
Mary.
he's doing.
Appreciate that.
Well, you didn't say Mary again.
He's the professional, he should know what.
Ah, he's the what?
He's the professional.
Ah, give it up. Ah, he's the professional. So sometimes I think the obstacle we have to overcome is in the mirror. Do you see yourself as a highly trained licensed professional? I see managers do this all the time. They shoot new agents in the foot and don't even realize it. They'll walk into a small business. We've got a new agent with them. I got Christy with me. I walk into a small business. Hi, Dave. My name is Lloyd Lawton, American Public Insurance Company. This is Christy. She's new with our company. I say, she might as well wear a sign that says, I'm stupid, don't know anything, don't bother asking me questions, right? Because if he can't see me right now that has an interest and wants me to come back tonight, and I have an appointment, and Christy has to go by herself, how much confidence does he have in her now?
Zero.
Did I just shoot her in the foot? Did you know that your prospects only know what you tell them they know? Did you know that? So if you tell them they're new, that you're new, what do they know?
They know you're new.
Right. If you tell them you don't know, then what do they know?
They think you're an idiot.
Ah, see how that works? The good part about the 21st century is there's an invention called the cell phone. So I train all my agents to learn how to ask questions. And if the prospect comes back and says, what about, does this cover? And I don't know the answer. I do a trial close. I drop a thermometer in the sales situation. I say, that's a good question. We have an expert back at our office that handles that. Let me get David on the phone. And I go dial the number. If they don't stop me from dialing the number, what am I most likely doing?
Closing.
So when does the close occur?
From the beginning.
Very first contact. See how that works? So really, the truth is, the obstacle that we have to overcome is ourself, our own perceptions. That means we have to have something at risk, remember? You have to do something new, different. You have to go outside yourself. I think all of you bring skills and assets to the table. But the truth in business, and in life, in my experience anyway, if you make the same choices in the next year you made in the last year, where will you be a year from now?
You can't get through there.
.com.
That was good.
I like that clip because it demonstrates this philosophy, I think. You know, what happens a lot of times is we get a new job like this, and we expect from a manager, or we come to a training like this, and what do we come to the training expecting?
Become experts.
Become an expert, yeah. We come in here expecting to learn techniques, right? And haven't you done that in prior jobs before? Like, you get a guy that's really good on the phone, and it's like, boy, if I could just get his phone script, right? If I just can you give me the wording on how you get that appointment? You know, how do you do that present? How do you get the qualification? How do you close? Have you ever done that? You can just figure out how he closed. What's the words he used to close? We think there's like some magical trick to doing the sale. And there's not. There's no tricks. Yeah, Dale Carnegie wrote a book in 1934. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and really nothing's changed since then. I don't think there's anything new in sales training. It's just presented a different way. The truth is that technique alone is not enough. Technique alone is not going to help you succeed in your business. Well, we're going to teach you a lot of techniques. We're going to talk a lot of philosophy and processes and techniques. We're going to talk about a lot of those things. We've already talked about a few already. I don't know if you made any notes on it. But the truth is, application of a new technique in a practice or pressure situation is required to turn the technique into a skill and then improve on it. I mean, agents come here all the time and they say, well, they've been here 3 weeks. Have you made a presentation? Well, no. Learning the product. I mean, learn all the features and benefits. What if the customer asks me? I mean, what if they want to know? And the truth is, the only way you're going to know is to go make the presentation. The only way, I can teach you all kind of rebuttals here. We're going to teach you key phrases. What's the hardest part about making a point? What's the hardest part about a customer objection? Overcoming the objection. It isn't that you can't talk, right? I mean, you're all people persons, right? That's why you took this job. That's why you got in sales. You like working with people. It's not that you have difficulty talking. Isn't it that first 2 to 5 seconds after they object, thinking of what to say? Isn't that what happens on the telephone? I mean, here's what I think is funny. I work with agents that's been in sales for years, or they've been with us for years, and they make the phone call. Now, here's a guy that's been with us for 10 years, and they make the phone call. They get an objection on the phone, and you watch them kind of stutter. You ever seen someone do that? Now, don't you think that someone's been in sales more than a year has heard, I want to think about it more than 1,000 times? Wouldn't you think they'd already have a rebuttal built in? But the truth is, we think there's some technique. You know, how do I get in the door? What's the technique I can use? With Combined Insurance, we used to teach you, we had a key phrase we used. Hi, my name is Lloyd Lofton. I'm with Combined Insurance Company. I was out visiting my customers in the area. I want to stop by and visit with you. I believe this will interest you also. And you go through. I was just seeing Frank next door and Billy next door, and you go through the names and the roles there. You can't do that today because of HIPAA, but we go through the names and the role. And I believe this will interest you also. You wipe your feet. We teach them all the techniques. So agents think that technique's going to get them in the door. But what really works for them? If you want to make a presentation, you have to get in front of somebody. That's the key. Techniques that we're going to learn in class today aren't going to get you there. You have to go use the techniques. Remember we talked about active versus passive? You have to find out one thing that will work for you and then go do it. Go do it with the end in mind. And what's the end that you're looking for?
Commission check.
Commission, for someone to sign an application and give you a check. If you have the ability to look past the first 75 no's you're going to get and focus on the first yes you get, then you'll have a better chance of doing what, Linda? That's succeeding. All right. So really what we're talking about is you as the business owner. And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to start that process of putting together a little business plan for yourself. I've got 5 after 10. Let's say 10:15. Does that work for everybody? This means yes. Take your break.
Why do I think that conversation actually took?
That was actually probably a true conversation.
Well, now see, in training or public speaking, there's thing you learn to not talk about 3 things. You learn not to talk about religion, you learn not to talk about politics, and you learn not to talk about Frank's wife. Chuckle, chuckle. He looks up, Frank. Okay, where are we at? Use the business owner. Well, maybe this will work. There we go. Self-management begins with self-knowledge. And if you look on lesson 1, page 2 in your book, there's a couple of questions. It means examining and questioning your talents, assumptions, beliefs, and values to, number 1, make assessments of your strengths and weaknesses. I had polio when I was a kid. So I've had a lot of surgeries, and I tend to limp when I walk. That's a strength. I've learned to use that as a strength in my business, because when I work the senior market, I have a cane that I use. Like you'll probably see the cane over the next 3 days. And I tend to limp it a little more when I go up to the door. Now, and when I was in Tennessee, I would take new agents out in the wintertime, and I had a sign-up sheet, and he would sign up to go work with me. I left the office at 9 o'clock. That means if you showed up at 9 o'clock, I'm already getting on the freeway. In fact, my wife would call me and say, Barbara's here, she said she was supposed to work with you. Yeah, that's true. Well, she's here. Okay, well, what time is she supposed to work with me? 9 o'clock. Well, see, it's 9 o'clock and I'm getting on the freeway. I don't leave at 9 o'clock. I said I'm going to be at work at 9 o'clock. That means I'm already gone. So, so if you wanted to work with me, what time would you show up?
8.
There you go. Give it up. Yeah. Because whose money are we talking about?
Yours?
Yeah, my money. Yeah, and I get mean when you mess with my green. So I leave on time. So I take new agents out in the field. It'd be winter time, 0 degrees, -10 wind chill factor, 12 inches of snow. And an agent would show up with an overcoat on, gloves, scarf, ear muffins. And I look at him and think, okay, so you don't want to get in a house? See, if I went to a senior's home dressed exactly like I'm dressed right now, and it was 0-degree weather, and the senior opened the door and saw me standing there in 0-degree weather with this
I
on.
think you're freezing, they will open the door like
Oh, isn't that funny how that works? Son, you better get in here. You're going to catch your death coat. Well, if you insist, I'll come limping in. Funny how that works. See, so I use that as my strength. So part of it is examining what your strengths and weaknesses are. My suggestion is that you focus on your strength. Well, you know, I want to learn how to do the walk and talk. Okay, well, what are you more comfortable on? The phone. Well, maybe you should focus on the phone, become proficient at that, be able to make your house payment and car payment using that, and then increase your skill set. Does that make sense? So I'd encourage you to focus on what strengths you bring to the table. Develop your positive qualities. We all have things that other people may perceive as a negative. We have things about ourselves we perceive as a negative. And the worst thing we can do is compare ourselves, in my opinion, to other people. In fact, sometimes I don't think that we do a good job when we put on meetings by putting the top salesperson up there in front of the room. I mean, the truth is, if I've got a guy in front of the room talking to my agents who's been here for 30 years and he's talking about how to do referrals, is he doing anything special? Do you think if you've been in the business 30 years, you should know how to get referrals? See, a lot of times what they do is they talk about a high level of what they do, but they don't give specific techniques. So as a new agent, I'm sitting here thinking, well, that's great and it's motivating, but I don't walk back with those 3 bullet points that tell me what I can do. Does that make sense? So you want to develop your positive qualities. What things do you bring to the table? It's not a matter of that another agent in the office is more successful or better at something than you. It's what do you do that you can increase your skill set on? Or what skill set are you able to learn to increase your effectiveness? Does that make sense? And you all bring things. We demonstrated with Dave. He already knows how to prospect. He already knows how to make phone calls, right? You already know how to do direct mail because you sent your resume out. You already know how to get the interview because you got interviewed. And you know how to elicit a purchase, right? Because they bought you. Does that make sense? And you want to control your weak areas. There's things that I'm not great at. And I acknowledge that up front. In fact, I'll kind of use this as a segue to objections. One of the things you can do to increase your effectiveness in handling objections, I would disagree with the concept of overcoming objections, and I'll tell you why later, but one of the concepts of learning how to handle objections is to acknowledge what the objections are. And the philosophy, the numbers I would give you, and I'm a numbers person, the numbers I would give you is if you get the same objection 2 times out of 5 presentations, when should you handle the objection?
Up front?
Yeah, give it up, man. At the beginning of your sales presentation. So if you twice out of 5 presentations they said I want to think about it, then I would handle it up front. So for example, what I would do up front to build the commitment and get rid of that objection that I've gotten 2 out of how many times? 5 times, is I'd say, Anthony, Linda, I appreciate you letting me come out here today. I want to take a couple minutes to talk to you a little bit about what I see my responsibility is. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to kind of explain to you what the process is. Does that make sense? So I want you to know that I'm a salesman and I get paid by commission, but you know that, right? See, I like getting that dirty little secret out on the table. So I tell you, I'm a salesman and I get paid by commission, but you know that, right? So here's what I see my job is. My job is to kind of ask you some questions, get an idea on how you've accessed health care. A couple things you like about your existing plan, a couple things you don't like about it, one thing you like to change about it, and then kind of get an idea, you know, when you're thinking about money. I know you already pay a premium, but I don't really care about that right now, but when you're thinking about money and how much you want to set aside to pay for your health care expenses, about, just round figures, about how much money a month are you talking about?
700.
700, but not more than. See how we got that window there? Just by saying not more than and using the body language, do your head and your shoulder like that, you get a little bit of a window. So if I do my job properly and I can help you eliminate these 2 things, help you get this one thing, make sure your plan covers and do it at no more than that $700 figure right in that ballpark, then if I understand you correctly, you'd be interested in moving forward and see if you qualify to apply, right? So the only thing I would ask you, if I do my job properly, is I would just ask you at the end of it, if you would just give me either yes or no. You see, at $3.67 a gallon for gas, I can't afford to keep coming back. I won't be like most salesmen and call you and nagging you and bugging you. In fact, one of the reasons why we had a little difficulty picking a time is because I'm very busy and I have a lot of clients. So if your answer is yes, I'll do everything I can to get the information necessary for the underwriter to make a final decision and get your policy issued. If the answer is no, I'll thank you for your time and I won't bother you anymore, and you'd expect that, right? Can we agree on that?
Sounds fair.
and then I shake your hand. Now, what did I just gain?
Confidence.
Did I get the commitment up front?
Yes.
Yeah. And then what did I build in for the objection? Did we already handle I want to think about it? Because we fast forward an hour later, and they say, I want to think about it. I can come back and say, isn't that funny how that works? So I said, well, you know, Linda, I'm a little bit confused. You remember when we first started talking, I sat down and told you I'm a salesman, I get paid by commission? Now, what's funny about doing that is one or the other, usually the husband or wife will look at each other because they know they just got what? So they know they just got caught. Yeah, but here's the truth of the matter. The reason I build this in up front is because I am a highly trained licensed professional. If you're lucky enough to have Lloyd Lofton come out to your house and you make a final decision that this is the product that's going to help solve your problems, you have received the best agent there is. And my time is of value. I bring value to the table. And if I've done my job properly, do you have a right to be paid? Then you have a right to ask for the business. But it's kind of like that doctor. If the doctor says, well, you can take this medicine, this medicine, this medicine, or this medicine. If you as an agent say, well, you can do this kind of plan, or this kind of plan, and this option, and this option, or this option, or this option, then what are you asking them to do?
Think about it.
Think about it, right? So why are you surprised at the end when they say, I want to
Think about it.
think about it? If you're the doctor, if you're the highly trained licensed professional, then what do you want to do?
Tell them exactly
You want to
what they need.
prescribe the solution. Based on the information you've given me, this is a plan I feel like does meet your needs. See how that works? So we want to treat ourselves as a highly trained licensed professional. So you want to control your weak areas. There's things that I'm not good at in presentation. I'm good, really good at getting in the door. I am a good closer. I'm not that great at the actual presentation. I'm good at qualification. I'm great at getting a commitment. But there's other agents that are much better at the product presentation than I am. Much better at it. So I control the things that I am good at. That's what I would encourage you to do. Make assessments of your strengths. Develop your positive qualities. And control your weak areas so that your focus is on yeses, not no's. Yes, sir.
What happens if you have trouble getting in the door?
Is this walk and talk or is this phone calls?
Walk and talk.
Okay. And is that the preferred way for you to market
That's the
yourself?
preferred way.
Okay. Well, you guys okay if we talk about this for a second?
Sure.
Do you mind if I ask you what you mean by getting in the door?
Well, I'm going toward the senior market with the medical, Medicare supplements. And, you know, they may be at home or whatever, but, and sometimes, you know, like we were talking earlier, they may not even come to the door. Or, just yesterday, you know, I don't like to say this, but she was a bitch, okay?
Well, let me ask you a question. When do your customers lie to you?
Always.
When they move their lips, right? Isn't it funny how that works? Right, but wait a minute. Now, from a management standpoint, when do agents lie to you?
Always.
When they move their lips, right? I want to succeed in this business. I'm going to work really hard.
But, you know, the minute they hear insurance,
Chuckle, chuckle. Don't get your feelings hurt.
it's kind of like, we got enough, we don't need enough.
Ah, so let me see if I understand you correctly. You go to the door, they answer the door.
Yeah.
Assuming they answer the door. You mention insurance and it turns them off.
The minute you say, you know, you'll say, I'm with American Republic Insurance.
Okay. Can I analogize that to referrals?
What's that?
Can I analogize that
Yeah.
to referrals? What industry were you in before you got insurance?
The ag industry,
The ag industry.
not the ad industry.
The ag. You're one of those pork farmers, right? Can't have your meeting because the pigs are coming to town. Well, damn, didn't know you meant ex-wife.
That was that lady I talked to.
Okay, so, how many years were you in the ag business?
About 30.
During those 30 years, how many times did your family or friends call you up and say, John, I need to buy health insurance, who can I buy it from?
A couple times I can remember.
So, would you build your career in the insurance business over those 2 times over the next 30 years in the insurance business?
No.
Oh, okay. Now, how many times, what industry were you in?
I've been mostly clothing.
Clothing, all right. How many times did family or friends in the clothing, when all those years you were in the clothing business, call you up and say, hey, Fred, I want to buy health insurance. Who can I buy it from? How many times has that happened to you?
Never.
Now, how do you guys ask for referrals?
I asked you to say, who do you know that may need some help?
Well, I'm just curious, okay? Because everybody says that.
Yeah.
Who do you know? I just asked you, in 30 years in the ag business, twice somebody says, who can I buy health insurance with? And we build our business by asking customers questions that in our own personal life, we never had happen! You get the analogy? Did anyone ever call you up and say, hey, who can I buy health insurance from? We're sitting in front of someone saying, who do you know that would be interested in health insurance? And usually their answer is what? Don't know anybody. See how that concept works? So, we did the slides up here. There was a survey done, and people said these are the things they need in order to have the American dream. Was anywhere on there, did it mention insurance? Anywhere on there, did it mention a product? Then what are you talking about at the door?
Insurance.
Ah, okay. So is there a connection there? What could you say differently at the door?
Well, you know, I'd start talking about something that they have, or, you know, a good example was just the other day, a guy had a 68 Chevy up in front that I really liked. I mean, it was immaculate condition. I started talking about it, and I heard the whole rendition on that 68 Chevy.
And then what ended up happening?
Ended up, I closed the sale.
Oh, give me that, dude. Check it out. So, what would your advice be to him, guys? David, what would your advice be to him about getting in the door?
Schmoozing.
Find common ground.
Find common ground. Knocking on doors, doing the walk and talk is not about, in my experience, I'm not saying it's not true, but it's not about making a sale. It's about building a relationship. And if someone says, give you an example. This may apply more to the ladies than the guys, but this is a school. Everybody see that? This is the driveway. This is the street, okay? Everybody with me? Okay. I call Christy, or I call Mary, and your kid gets out of school at 3 p.m. and I call at 2:45. Now let me ask you a question. Those of you who know the guys, you might know the answer too. Your kid gets out of school at 3 p.m. They're in elementary school. If I get to the school at 5 minutes to 3, where will I park?
Right out front.
Right out here, right? If I get to the school at 2:45, where will I park?
Closer.
Yeah, right here. So if I call at 2:45 and Mary answers the phone, and I say, hi, American Public Insurance, I'm Lloyd Lawson, American Public Insurance Company. You recently talked to someone about health insurance. Do you have a moment? Right? If I make my phone call, the reason I'm calling is, right, if I do the phone call, and she says I'm not interested, what else might she be saying? And if I don't get there right now, instead of parking here and waiting 5 minutes to pick up my kid, I have to park down here, and I'm going to be 20 minutes getting all the way up here. You go knock on the door, hi, my name's Lloyd Lofton, I'm American Public Insurance Company, and what do they hear?
Insurance sale.
Ah, people tend to say things from their frame of reference. People tend to hear things from their frame of reference. Do people buy insurance?
Nope.
What do they buy?
You.
On the slides, what were people's main dominant buying motives?
Protection, security.
So if I'm just doing the walk and talk, the question may be if I can increase your benefits or lower your cost. Would there be any reason not to do a comparison? You see what I'm saying? However you're framing, we're going to go through some of the key phrases, but you talked about a car to someone and what ended up happening.
I guess I'm looking at just the introduction itself, to get past that screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found it, if you do it quick, you're in, but if you don't,
If you do it what?
quick,
Ah, what does quick mean?
well, within the first 3 or 4 sentences.
Okay.
If
So
you just stand there, you're likely not to get in.
if you just stand there. So let me just see if I understand you correctly. Are you saying that your behavior has something
Well,
to do with
sometimes
your
I'll
words?
open the door up,
Ah.
you know,
So if
and
I-
say it's hot outside.
If I'm at the front door,
I need some lemonade.
if I'm at the front door, what's the goal? What's the end in mind? What do I want them to do?
Get through the door.
So what would I need to do if I want them to
Open the door. Get out of the way.
So you want to step back. I might want to open the screen door. I might want to make eye contact. Hi, my name is Lloyd Lofton. I'm American Insurance Company. I was out visiting some of my customers in the area, and I want to stop by and introduce myself. May I come in? See how the behavior is congruent with the words? Now, if they say I'm not interested, I've already got insurance, is that abnormal or normal?
That's normal.
That's normal. So, do you do better when you feel better or when you feel bad? When you feel better? Do you feel better when you win or when you lose? So if you do better when you feel better and you feel better when you win, wouldn't it make sense to always put our prospect in a position of winning? So if they say I'm not interested, I've already got insurance, I understand. A lot of my customers felt the same way the first time I talked to them. What I have to present only takes about 15 minutes. If you're still interested, I'll stay. If not, I'll leave. Is that fair? So if I use words that validate and acknowledge what's normal, is it normal for them to not necessarily be interested just because I stop by?
No.
That's not normal, right?
Oh, yeah, that is normal.
That would be normal. They would not necessarily say, hey, thank God, insurance guy, praise the Lord, you showed up. Can I write you a check? That's not normal. They're supposed to be busy. And why do customers give us objections more often than not?
To get us to leave.
Huh?
To get us to leave.
Fear of rejection. I mean, they're afraid that you're going to sell them.
Or they may that may be true. They also may be afraid that they're going to buy something. My experience is, I'm not saying it's true all the time, my experience is customers tend to give you objections for two primary reasons. Number one, it worked before. The last guy that came to the door, knocked on the door, they said, I'm not interested, and he did what? He turned around and left. Or they think they're supposed to give you an objection. Now, let's just go with another analogy. Has anybody bought a new car in the last month or two? 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years?
5 years.
5 years.
Not quite.
Nobody in the room has bought a car in the last 5 years? No wonder the auto industry's going down. All right, Mary, can I pick on you?
Sure.
All right, here's the car lot. Here's the sales office. Here's the cars. It's usually chained in or something. Here's your main street. When you pulled onto the car lot and you got out of your car, the car salesman walked up to you and said, can I help you? Right? Something like that. And what did you say?
I was looking.
Okay, so you guys lied too, right? You know, we talk about being honest and ethical, so let's just get the truth on the table. So you guys lie also, right? Yeah, so you go to a clothing store, department store, the salesman, can I help you? And you say what? Just like, all right. Just as long as we're upfront with each other, we all lie too. So now, you pick a car out, and what's the first thing he has you do?
Drive it.
Is that true, Mary? Why does he want you to test drive the product?
Get in with him.
Huh?
He wants to get in the car with him.
Okay.
Get in your space.
Okay.
Because it's a commitment.
Because it's what?
A commitment.
Is that true, Mary?
What did he say?
Did you buy the car you test drove?
Actually, no.
So what car did you buy?
I just bought a Jeep Liberty.
Okay, did you drive the car that you bought?
Uh-uh.
So how did you pick that car out?
Well, because I had previously owned one.
Ah, so you had driven one before.
Yeah.
Have you ever bought a car that you've never driven?
Yeah, actually, I bought 2 cars over the phone.
And why did you buy that car?
Because it was cheap, and I knew the salesperson. I knew the finance guy.
So the two things that I'm hearing you say is that the salesperson had credibility with you,
Right.
and you were familiar with the product.
Yeah, I did my research prior.
Okay. So if you take a car out for a test drive, have you noticed when you pull the car out, what do they have you do? Which way do they have you turn?
Right.
Yeah, they have you turn right. Why do they have you turn right?
So you don't run into somebody.
Because they want you to engage in behaviors that you're more familiar with, and 80% of the country is right-handed. So they have you make a right-hand turn, a right-hand turn, a right-hand turn, a right-hand turn, a right-hand turn. When you come back in the lot, where do they usually have you park the car at?
Right in the office.
Huh?
Right in front of the sales office.
Yeah, right here, right? Because where's your car parked?
Right there.
Oh, right next to. Why do they want you to park your car next to the car you just test drove? Why do they want you to park it next to your car?
See how crummy yours looks.
So you can see how crappy your car looks, right? And when you get out of the car, what do they have you do? Do they have you walk around the car? So do they open the hood? Any of you guys have that experience? They open the hood, and we stand there shaking our head, pretending we know what the heck they're talking about, right? Then you go to the back seat, you look in the back seat, they get back to the trunk, they open the trunk up, and what do they tell you? Look how big the trunk is, you can fit what in there?
Dead body.
Dead bodies in there?
5 bodies.
You got a strange life, man. I'm going to follow you around. You and I ain't going door to door, that's furniture. You're looking for dead bodies. What can you fit in the trunk?
Luggage.
Golf clubs can fit in the trunk. Ladies, what did I tell you can fit in the trunk?
Lots of luggage.
Lots of luggage. Sexist people, I swear to God. Who do they think they are? Shoes and groceries, yeah. And now, when you get that with all that process, then where do you go?
Sales office.
Why do you go in the sales office? Are you, let me ask you this question. Are you going in the sales office to discuss which car to buy? Or are you going in the sales office to discuss
That car.
how much you're paying for that car? Which one do you do? Would everybody agree with that? Okay, now you know how to sell insurance. Now you know how to get in the door. Because the truth is, we're not talking about which product they buy. We're talking about how much you're paying for that product. And the reason you do the test drive is because what do you do during the test drive? You're driving a $30,000, $40,000 car, and what type of things do you play around with during the test drive?
Radio.
Radio, air conditioner, right? The seat, yeah. All the things that are going to mechanically make that car run for the next 7 years. We play around with them. Isn't that fun? I'm in Colorado and I get a phone call from my wife, and she says, I just test drove a new car. This was last year. Well, that's interesting. She has a car and I have a car. So, guys, what does that tell me? Yeah, somebody's losing a car, right? So I said, well, that's interesting. Whose car are you thinking about getting rid of? Well, and she said, yeah, yours. I said, oh, okay, so you're going to get rid of my car. Well, what car am I going to get? And what car did she say?
Hers.
Yeah, her car. Yeah, I'm going to get the used car, right? So I get back in town on Friday night, and on Saturday I go and test drive the car. Why did I test drive the car, guys?
Because she said so.
Because I'm the man. Make sure that was the right car and a good deal. So we go in there and I test drive the car. We get in, we pull out the lot. The salesman's in the back seat. She's in the passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm driving. And the salesman says, Lloyd, see that blue button there? Go ahead and push it. So I go, and a burst of cold air comes over me. He says, when you come back in town, you're able to adjust the air conditioning on your side of the car to keep it as cool as you want. I say, one of the things my wife and I bicker about, because I'm gone a lot, when I come back and we get in the car, I like it cold. Ladies, can you tell I like the room cold? Yeah, I like it a little bit cooler. And my wife likes it the opposite. She likes it a little warmer. So one of the things we kind of bicker about is what, guys?
Temperature.
Yeah, we're always adjusting the temperature, right? So I look at my wife and said, someone's been talking. Because how does this stranger know this? Then he says to Debbie, she laughs, he laughs. He says to Debbie, do you see that red button? Push that red button. She goes, whoosh, burst of warm air hits her. She says, when Lloyd comes back in town and you guys are driving around, you won't have to feel irritated at him that the car's too cold because you can keep your side as warm as you want it. I tried to hire the guy. This guy knows features and benefit. Here's the feature and this is why it's a benefit to you. That makes sense? So guess what we ended up doing? We went back to the dealership and we went inside to do what? We'd go inside to decide which car we're going to buy or how much we're going to pay for.
That car.
For that car, guess what we ended up doing? About that car. So, the way he got in the door is he talked about the benefit. People don't buy insurance, they buy what insurance does. So, we sell them the pain. And the pain when we first meet people, in fact, let's talk about this for a second. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but let's talk about this for a second. You make a phone call or you knock on a door. How important is the company to these people?
Not very.
Why not?
Most people.
Are you saying the financial history of American Republic Insurance Company is not important? Are you saying the longevity and stability of our company is not important? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't work at home either. What has to happen? If you, on the phone or in person, if you don't come across as the kind of person that they're willing to let come into their home, what chance do you have of making a sale?
0.
Slim or none, right? Let's say that kind of jumping ahead. So the first thing is they have to be willing to let you in the house or give you an appointment or interview, however you want to call it, right? Would you agree with that? Once you get in the house, if you don't come across as the kind of person that they perceive as to be a knowledgeable, personable, trustworthy, in other words, a what?
Boy Scout.
A what? Professional. Thank you. If you don't come across as someone they see as being a professional, how likely are they to disclose personal history with you and write you a check? Not very likely. Would you agree with that? So it's important that they see you as someone, as a professional, someone that they'll let qualify them. And then, what becomes important to them?
Money, the product, the benefits.
So at that point, would the company be relevant? Would you agree? Would everybody agree with that? In other words, if they don't see you as the kind of person they're willing to let come in the house, either at the door or on the phone, are you going to make a sale? If they see you as the kind of person they'd be willing to let come in their house, but once you get there, based on their interaction, they don't see you as a professional or someone they would disclose personal health information with, how likely are you to make a sale? So, at this point, if I told you, you see me as the kind of person you're willing to let come in your house, based on our interaction, you see me as a professional and someone who brings value to the table. Can you put yourself there? Everybody emotionally put yourself there? At that point, I tell you, are you familiar with American Republic? And you would say,
Nope.
no. Okay. I say, are you familiar with the American Republic? And you would say what, Fred? Okay, so he said no, so I need you to say what?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good role playing there. So are you familiar with the American Republic? Yes. If you remember American Republic, no. Well, let me share with you a few things about the company. American Republic's an older company. We're located in Des Moines, Iowa. We've been in business since 1929. We've only had 3 CEOs and presidents in the history of our company. We're still a mutual company. In fact, we've never been bought, merged, or sold. Would that give you a sense of value of the company's history, stability? In other words, me telling you that, does that reinforce to you how you feel about me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Well, let's say you see me as the kind of person that you're willing to let come out to the house. And based on the interaction, you see me as someone of value, in other words, a professional. And I say, well, David, are you familiar with American Republic?
Yes.
Well, let me share with you a few things about the company. We're an older company. We're located in Des Moines, Iowa. We've been in business for 5 years, and we've only had 3 CEO and presidents in the history of our company. In fact, we're still a mutual company. We've never been bought, merged, or sold. Would that change your view?
No.
See, it really doesn't matter which one I say. The truth is, anything I tell you at that point about the company is simply going to make you validate how you feel about me. Go ahead.
What about the, for us people that are in Des Moines anyway, what about the article in the Des Moines Register
And that is?
talking about American Republic?
Okay, well, they're not here, so go ahead.
Okay.
They're not in Des Moines.
Okay. The Des Moines Register put out a paper and it specifically said American Republic.
And how long ago was that?
And 3 days ago.
Remember,
Actually,
these people don't live here, so they don't have a clue what
Okay,
you're
in
talking
the Des
about.
Moines Register, they put out an article about, the guy's name was Irwin Deek,
Mhm.
94-year-old, that went...
They did a series on long-term care insurance, is what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're doing it all week.
he had been in there for 7 years, I think it was, 94 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and American Republic denied the claim. That's the way the paper said.
Denied the claim. He said, yeah.
Denied the claim.
Okay.
And then, of course, they went on to say, we tried to contact American Republic and there was no comment. Then, yesterday, I called this one gal and she said, have you seen the thing about American Republic in the paper? And I was supposed to have an appointment with her. Well, I'm going to have anyway, but
Why are you going to have anyway?
I said, that's a good opportunity to talk to you.
Now, wait, I'm confused. There's an article in the paper.
Well, she's kind of
I'm
saying,
hearing you say
should
that
I
that's
do
kind of
business
the-
with American Republic? And I said,
I'm hearing you say that came across as kind of a negative.
right.
You called someone who
Well,
asked you.
she had made an appointment last week and she had to go to Indiana to see her mother, so she came back.
Okay.
She called me back and then, she said, did you see the thing about American Republic?
And then you're going to end up seeing her anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So why do you think you're seeing her anyway?
Well, I think, number one, she kind of wants to know something,
Ah, okay.
and I kind of let that just hang.
Mhm.
And number two is her mother is going to need some care.
Well, let me ask you this question. Would you guys say that a customer or prospect's reaction to an article like that, of having some skepticism, is normal or abnormal?
That's normal.
Oh. So should we treat it as more normal than abnormal?
Yeah.
So what would be the downside of an article like that?
Well, the downside would be coming up to the door and saying, I'm with American Republic, and they say, ooh,
And if they go, well,
get out.
I'm going to pick on you, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, how many people actually go woo?
Yeah.
I'm in California, and they do that in San Francisco, but most people in Iowa, they don't go like that.
They go, woo.
So, woo. I'm a big farmer, man. I'm going to get my pigs after you, cuz. Sit on them, okay, so the truth is they have a reaction to it, right?
Yes,
So should we treat that as more normal than abnormal?
normal.
Okay. I'm gonna answer your question, but have you learned that I kind of go around the fence to answer a question? Okay.
Politicians do that.
Yes, they do.
Avoid the question.
Cha-ching!
Did he insult me?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a husband, so I've learned not to notice those things. Here, listen, I'm watching the game, right?
Right.
And it's always a big game, or the Super Bowl or something. Now, the first year I was married, here's what happens. Right? We have a big screen TV in our living room, and above the TV we have pictures of our kids on there. So my wife will come in, and it's always, ladies, I'll pick on the guys in a bit, but it's always 2 minutes before the half, or right at the end of the fourth quarter, and it's, could be the last play. She comes in and stands in front of the TV and dusts the pictures. Okay, now the first time this happened, the first couple of times it happened, our first year of marriage, guys, what did I say to her?
Nothing.
No, it's the first year of marriage.
I told her to move.
Depends how you ever train.
All this macho crap, I know better than that, the first year of marriage. First year of marriage, you're like, hey, move, move. And what did she say? What did the wife say?
What?
First she did the slow turn, right?
What'd you say?
Is the game more important to me? If you love me, you'd what?
Turn TV off.
Help me
Are
with
you a
that.
woman? Let the women answer, for God's sakes. If you love me, you'd what?
Help me.
Let me finish that.
Now, fast forward 22 years later, she comes in, does the picture, and now what do? Now you can say it.
I'm not going to.
Damn, when I want him to do it, he won't do it. Now he walks in and I don't say a damn word, right?
That's right.
Why? Because now I've learned that if I make a comment, it creates a conversation, which takes longer.
She's trained you well.
I'm well trained. I know how to go lay by my dish. So I shut up because I know that she'll dust and she'll walk out. And then I know that as soon as there's a break here, I'm going to get up and go do what, guys? Yeah, I'm going to take the trash out because I told her 2 hours ago I'd do that. Now I'm going to actually do it. Okay. So here's the answer to your question. I'm going to give you a question. All right, you ready? And I want you to tell me what you heard me mean by that question, okay? There's no right or wrong answer, but I'm just going to give the same sentence to everybody. And I'm going to go around the room and just tell me what you heard me mean. Okay, you ready? You ready? Mary, can I start with you first?
Sure.
All right. Cool. You like being picked on, right?
That's okay.
All right. You ready? I did not say she stole the money. What did you hear me mean?
You said you did not say it again, repeat it, please.
I did not say she stole the money.
You're saying that you didn't say that she stole the money, but it's
Okay.
possible.
Okay. Steve, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do you. You already know this. Gail, you ready?
Okay.
I did not say she stole the money. What did you hear me mean?
I hear you say that somebody else said she stole the money, but it was not you.
Okay. Fred, you ready? This means yes. This means no.
Yes.
Okay. I did not say she stole the money. What did you hear me mean?
You didn't steal it, somebody else did.
Ah, okay. Anthony, you ready? I did not say she stole the money.
It's possible she did, but I'm not saying it.
Oh, okay. Christy, you ready? I did not say she stole the money.
You're saying that it was stolen by someone else.
Okay. David, you ready? I did not say she stole the money.
She may quite possibly have borrowed it.
Oh, all right. You ready?
Sure.
I did not say she stole the money.
She may have stole something, but it wasn't the money.
Ah! Did everybody hear a different meaning with the voice inflection?
Yes.
So if someone comments on the newspaper article, here's what happens. We tend to talk from our frame of reference, and we tend to hear from our frame of reference. If someone comments on the newspaper article, we tend to apply our own definition to it. We tend to assume it. Salespeople tend to sell the way they buy. So for example, if I figure a premium on an HSA or UCME, and in my mind, I either couldn't afford to pay that premium or I think it's too high, I tend to project that issue into my prospect and not do what? Not present the product to them. Right.
Just in the product.
Right, exactly. So does that make sense? Just like managers. Managers tend to train the way they sell. So if the way they make appointments is on the phone and you are a walk and talk guy, what are they more likely to want to teach you?
Walk and talk.
If they sell on the phone and you do walk and talk,
They want to say the phone.
yeah, they're more likely to teach you on the
Right.
phone. Does that make sense? So when we go up to the door and a reaction is that, would we treat it as more normal than abnormal?
It should be treated normal.
I would treat it as more normal, absolutely. And the truth is every insurance company going to have articles like that periodically?
Absolutely.
What about automotive shops? Is there going to be news articles about automotive shops that rip you off?
Sears.
Huh?
Sears.
So are you saying yes?
Yeah. They were
Okay.
sued for it.
And is there a TV show that actually sets up sexual predators? And is that a popular TV show?
Oh, yeah.
Has everybody seen that? So the truth is every industry is going to have that, right? And the good part about the article, what I think is good about it anyway, is they're doing it over a period of 5 days. So it gives us an opportunity, while it appears to be a negative, it gives us an opportunity to talk about that with people. In fact, my perception is that it tends to open people's mind to want more information. Now, who are they going to be a little bit negative towards or blame at first?
Me.
Well, of course, you, yeah. People don't say, well, American Public didn't pay my claim. People don't say American Public didn't send me my paperwork. They say, you said, right? Just like we use on the prospect, you said, they do that with us too. Are they supposed to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, of course. See, we didn't send them a script.
But you could use that as a way to get in the door.
It's free
Say
advertising.
that again?
You could use the negative that the person said to get in the door.
I would agree with everything you said. I would reframe negative.
Well,
we would use their
comment in
concern.
the paper to say to that person, yes, that was in the paper, but let me come in and I'll explain it to you why,
Right.
obviously if you knew why the claim
For example,
wasn't
I might
made.
say, you know, I understand how you feel. The truth is, my mother's 83 years old, and if any company denied her benefits after she played claims all those years, I don't know if she'd be the one on the phone with them. I'd probably be on the phone cussing them out, wouldn't you? Because what do I want from them, yeses or nos?
Yes.
See what I mean? Does that help any?
Yeah.
Sometimes, remember, we talk from our frame of reference and we hear from our frame of reference. So as we get on through the day, this afternoon and tomorrow, we're going to get more specific on how to do rebuttals. In fact, we're going to go through some specific rebuttals. But as a psychology, as just a mental process, I want to, remember we talked about the one frame and the following line of letters, cross out 6 letters? We want to just kind of reframe our minds so that we see the customer as more normal than abnormal. Think of it yourself. Before you got in the insurance industry, hardly anybody ever called you and said, hey, who do you know I can buy health insurance with? The day after we get our license, we're sitting there asking people, who do you know would be interested in health insurance? Like they're going to say, well, you know, it's funny you ask. 814 people have called me in the last 2 days. Let me give you their number. But there is a reason I bring that up. In fact, tomorrow we'll actually go through that. But the way you get referrals is if you attach a behavior to a request.
Who do you know that I can help save the money?
Not a person. Don't know anybody.
How about just giving me a list of your family members and friends, and I'll call them and.
I wouldn't feel comfortable giving numbers out.
Do you have any friends or family that I could help?
I don't have any friends at all. You've been with me for an hour. Would you be my friend? How about this? How about this? Who do you know that just got married? Who do you know just bought a new car? Who do you know that just bought a new house? Who do you know that just moved? Who do you know that just started a new job? Who did you golf with? I see you're into racing. Remember you knock on the door? Remember that whole process? You get to the door, you ring the doorbell, you step back, you open the door, you make eye contact. Hi, my name is Lloyd Lofton, American Health Insurance Company. You recently asked for information about health insurance. Now come in, you use the behavior, wipe your feet, they let you come in, you make sure you don't slam the screen door because 20 years ago if you'd done that, you would have woken up my baby daughter who's now 21 years old. And what would my wife have done?
Threw you out.
Yeah, kicked you out of the house, yeah. Yeah. Then you sell off the wall, you find something of